Hey, how's it going, everybody? RC Maxfield from the Back to 12 podcast. And hey, let's talk about the East region in the NCAA tournament. Now, the Baylor Bears are the #1 seed, and I will give all of my predictions and tell you who will be down in the Final Four from the East region in New Orleans, attempting to cut down the nets. Let's start with the #1 seeded Baylor Bears against Norfolk State, who will be playing in Fort Worth, as that is the closest destination for the Baylor Bears. I've got Baylor obviously winning that one. Now, in the 8-9 matchup, you got North Carolina and Marquette. Give me North Carolina in this one, and I might have a little bit of a spicy take when it comes to Baylor, North Carolina, so you're going to want to stick around for that. Now, St. Mary's against Wyoming and Indiana. Wyoming and Indiana will be in the 12th spot, depending on who wins their play-in game, And I've got St. Mary's winning it regardless. I think St. Mary's is one of the most underrated teams in the country. You've got UCLA and Akron. Give me the Bruins from Westwood. I've got them moving on to face off against St. Mary's. Now, in the 6-11 matchup, you have the University of Texas against Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech has been playing better recently. I'm going to go with the Hokies. I think that they found something in the ACC tournament up in Brooklyn. I think they knock off the 6-seeded Longhorns and move on to the round of 32. Now, who will they be playing in the second round? It's either going to be Purdue or Yale, and Yale had a little bit of a scare in the Ivy League championship against their rivals Princeton, and I'm going to go with Purdue. I just think they're just too big, too physical, and they have one of the best players in the country in Ivy at the guard position. And now in the 7-10 matchup, there is one team involved here between Murray State and San Francisco that meets the criteria that every 20 past champions have met. Since 2002, every champion has been ranked in the top 45 of adjusted offense and top 20 of adjusted defense. No, it's not Ja Morant's alma mater. It is, in fact, Bill Russell's in San Francisco who meets that criteria, but I don't have them winning this one. I am going with Murray State. I think they have a chance to potentially make it to the Sweet 16, which may shock some people because they will face off against Kentucky, who I think beats the 15-seeded St. Peter's. Now, Kentucky, Murray State. This is interesting because you have probably the player of the year in Oscar Tshiebwe at Kentucky, and I think that they're really good. Coach Calipari has a great, really experienced team in Lexington this year, and I will pick Kentucky, but it would not shock me whatsoever if Murray State upsets Kentucky. I think that is going to be a close matchup. Now, Virginia Tech and Purdue. Give me Purdue. Again, it comes back to Ivy and their legit NBA center that stands 7'3". I think it's just too much size against Va Tech. I think Purdue moves on to the Sweet 16. Now, you look at UCLA and St. Mary's. This is interesting because I think UCLA is one of the best teams in the country, but I'm going to go with St. Mary's here because you're going to be able to tell early on in this game if St. Mary's can knock off UCLA because they were one of the best shooting teams in the country. Give me St. Mary's to move on to the Sweet 16. I teased it a little bit earlier. North Carolina, Baylor. North Carolina has been playing better as of late. Remember what they did to Coach K and Duke in his final home game at Cameron Indoor. However, I'm taking the Baylor Bears in this one. I think Baylor moves on and will face off against the 5th seed in St. Mary's in the Sweet 16. And yes, I have the Baylor Bears advancing to the Elite 8. Now you have Purdue and Kentucky down at the bottom there. I'm going to go a little chalky here. People are going to say that I'm chalk here, but I'm going to go Kentucky. And then in the Elite 8 in Philly for a chance to go to New Orleans and have a chance to cut down the nets, two of the best programs in all of college basketball. I think the Baylor Bears return to the Final Four for the second year in a row and have a chance to repeat once again as NCAA tournament champions. Now, let me know down in the comments below if you agree with me. I'm sure there's some people that won't agree with me, but I do think Baylor is one of the best teams, and I'm sure some people in the comments will say I went super chalk on that. But remember, I did give consideration to North Carolina. And I'll say this, I think if North Carolina does beat Baylor, I'm going to go with Baylor. But if North Carolina does win, I think that they end up in the Elite 8. I think they're that good. Do not count them out. But let me know if you disagree with any of my picks down in the comments below. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. I'll be giving you daily videos on March Madness, keeping you up to date with the latest in terms of news and the bracket. Hey, all you got to do is hit that red button and turn it gray right here on the Back to 12 podcast.